Donald Trump staged a disastrous press conference on December 5, 2025, with Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwandan President Paul Kagame to tout a so-called historic peace deal between Congo and Rwanda. But the key rebel group M23, widely suspected of Rwandan backing and responsible for ongoing attacks, was not a signatory, rendering the agreement a hollow charade amid active killings in eastern Congo that very day. Trump's White House spectacle unfolded as a desperate bid for diplomatic glory, flanked by Tshisekedi and Kagame, who exchanged forced smiles while the M23 insurgency, denied by Rwanda but fueling daily deaths in Congo, lurked unaddressed, a glaring omission that turned the event into farce before Trump's eyes even fluttered shut. The presser, meant to crown the freshly renamed Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace, instead spotlighted Trump's dozing disengagement, his bandaged rotting hand twitching under futile concealment as reporters pressed on the deal's emptiness. This comes hot on the heels of a federal judge ruling Trump's mass firing of the Institute's board unlawful, a purge paused only by the Supreme Court's temporary stay, yet exploited to slap his name on the building amid raging wars in Ukraine, promised ended in 24 hours, and Venezuelan threats laced with crimes against humanity. Trump's timeline fumbles abounded, claiming a Saudi trip 2 months prior when it was May, his lies layering atop racist rants branding all Somalis frauds and garbage, wishing Ilhan Omar dead without America, a venomous aside that poisoned the air even as he mangled African leaders' names. The Institute renaming, orchestrated by Secretary Rubio during the judicial limbo, reeks of ego over ethics, a traitorous tribute for a man laundering Russian plans to gut Ukraine and NATO while dozing through global pleas. Reporters from Africa pierced the pomp with raw urgency. People dying today in Congo, troops still clashing. Met by Trump's vague months or years delay, his gaze drifting to hand horrors as applause rang hollow. This isn't peacemaking. It's performative rot, Trump's sleep cycles syncing with a regime's collapse, where M23's absence dooms the deal and his Somali slurs expose the bigot beneath the bandage. The event's scripted joy, leaders loving each other, per Trump's delusion, crumbles under reality's weight. Congo's blood unstaunched as Trump thanks Rubio for the vanity plaque. Ukraine's unanswered 24-hour vow hangs like a noose. Venezuelan atrocities mount, and Trump's hand, a symbol of festering failure, steals scenes he can't stay awake for. As applause fades, the charade lingers, a fake peace facade for a felon-fraught foreign policy, chasing headlines over healing. The December 5th press conference erupted into embarrassment as Trump heralded a Washington agreement between Congo and Rwanda, crediting the Luanda and Nairobi processes while ignoring M23's non-signature status, the Rwanda-backed rebels whose attacks slaughter Congolese daily in the east. Tshisekedi and Kagame sat stone-faced as Trump dozed repeatedly, his head nodding through praise for their courageous tales, sad yet beautiful, before fumbling names like Tshisekedi into Chakis and Kagame into Kagame, settling for vague president of DRC in a second botched try. A Saudi Arabia boast twisted May's visit into 2 months ago. Qatar and EU reps invoked for echoing America's hot revival from death's door, lies stacking as his bandaged hand drew obsessive glances, the rotting flesh a grotesque sideshow. The deal's hollowness peaked when an African reporter confronted the ongoing carnage. Troops clashing, deaths mounting today, forcing Trump's evasive few months or years miracle from these great leaders. Applause masking the void where M23's inclusion should have been. This vanity veiled deeper rot. Trump's unlawful Institute of Peace Board purge, blocked by district court but paused by SCOTUS for trial, hijacked to rename the entity after himself via Rubio's decree, a profane honor amid his Ukraine inaction and Venezuelan war crimes. Somalia's shadow loomed in Trump's prior day's slurfest, deeming the nation Earth's worst, its people ripping off Minnesota via welfare fraud, Omar a complainer who'd be dead without America, her congressional seat undeserved for unpatriotic prayers. The presser's forced bonhomie, leaders getting along, per Trump's delusion, cracked under reality's glare. Congo's blood unstaunched, as M23 rampages with Rwandan whispers. ISIS ties denied but unproven. Rubio's plaque thanks drew Trump's glee, the building blowing up last night in honor, a self-aggrandizing capstone to a snooze fest where global pleas drowned in dozes. Ukraine's 24-hour fix forgotten, Venezuelan threats thunder, the deal a diplomatic dud dooming innocence to endless east. Trump's hand horrors, rotting under wraps, mirrored the festering falsehoods, a regime's collapse captured in captured yawns. In the White House briefing room's harsh glare, Trump slouched at the podium flanked by Tshisekedi's stern gaze and Kagame's icy poise, cameras whirring as he touted the Washington Peace Pact, crediting shadowy African starters of Luanda-Robi talks, while M23's rebel specter hovered uninvited. Congo's eastern fields still slick with that morning's blood. His voice droned through dozes, head lolling as he mangled Tshisekedi into Chakis, Kagame to Kagame, settling for generic labels amid awkward chuckles, the bandaged hand flexing compulsively under jacket folds, rotting flesh pulsing like a hidden heartbeat. Saudi fibs flew, May morphed to 2 months ago, Qatari echoes of America's resurrection from corpse to hottest nation. Lies landing flat as his eyes glazed toward the hand's horror, reporters' pens scratching the surreal disconnect. Applause erupted forced when he cooed over leaders' love. Tshisekedi and Kagame's handshake a stiff charade, hiding M23's Rwandan whispers and ISIS shadows. The room's air thick with unspoken deaths. An African journalist's voice cut sharp. Historic deal hailed. Yet killings rage today. Troops clash now. Trump's vague, months or years, miracle met with murmurs. His confidence in these great men's proof a hollow hail amid the yawn that swallowed praise. Rubio rose to tepid claps for the Institute renaming. Trump's glee bubbling at the plaque's blow-up. Honor. The building's fresh etch of vanity scar on peacemaking's face, while Ukraine burns unquenched and Venezuela teeters on war's edge. Somalia's slur echoed from yesterday's venom. The nation damned as worst. Its people frauds gutting Minnesota. Omar's life a U.S. gift she'd squander. Her seat a congressional curse for unpraying patriots. Cameras caught the drift. Trump's nods syncing with Tshisekedi's tight-lipped thanks for dynamism. Kagame's even-handed nod a diplomatic dagger as applause faded to fidgety silence. The hand's twitch stole focus, rotting reminder of personal plague amid global ghosts. M23's impunity, a rebel roar, drowning the deal's dud notes. As flashes popped, the room exhaled relief at end. Leaders' faces etched with the exhaustion of enduring a dozing dealmaker's delusion. Tshisekedi's measured thanks masked simmering frustration, crediting Trump's new dynamism for breakthroughs while eyes betrayed the M23 void. Kagame's even-handed echo a Rwandan rebuff denying rebel ties as ISIS whispers lingered unquashed. The African reporter's raw plea, deaths today, troops now, hung unanswered in Trump's timeline fog. Her urgency a continental cry clashing with his miracle mirage. Leaders' stiff smiles cracking under the weight of Eastern graves. Trump's Saudi slip, May to 2 months, drew insider snickers at the lie's laziness. Qatari reps shifting uncomfortably as America's hottest. Revival rang hollow against jobless Novembers and pardon plagues. Hand horrors prompted aides' frantic fabric tugs. The rotting flesh a whispered White House worry mirroring regime's concealed corruptions from ISIS supremacist swells to Hegseth's signal sins. Rubio's plaque nod elicited Trump's boyish beam, the renaming a rushed Rubio rubber stamp during SCOTUS's stay, board purges judicial block a background burr ignored in ego's rush. Somalia's slurs stung Omar's allies, the worst country, barb a bigot's blast from yesterday's rant. Minnesota's Somali welfare ripoff, a racist ripple demanding deportation. Her congressional curse a clarion for un-American unprayers. Applause's awkward peel masked leaders' inner churn. Tshisekedi's sad beautiful stories a Congolese lament. Kagame's poise a Rwandan poker face, hiding M23 denials. Reporters' post-press huddles buzzed with the dozing disconnect. Trump's yawns a viral verdict on vigilance void. Ukraine's 24-hour vow a forgotten farce amid Venezuelan atrocities. The Institute's unlawful etch drew watchdog wrath. Federal injunctions fire paused, but not doused. SCOTUS's trial tether a tenuous truce Trump twisted for tribute. Background's rebel roar. M23's impunity. Rwanda's whispers. Thrummed unspoken. Congo's daily dead a drumbeat drowning the deal's dud fanfare. Trump's presser parses as peak performative pathology. The M23, snubbed peace. A paper tiger prowling Congo's corpse-strewn east. Rwanda's denials a diplomatic dodge as ISIS ghosts gild the rebel gold. Tshisekedi Kagame's feigned fondness a facade fracturing under firepower's fact. Dozing drifts dissect as cognitive collapse. Head nods nixing nuance on Luanda-Nairobi lineages. Name mangles, Chakis, Kagam. A linguistic lunacy underscoring unfitness for felon-fueled foreign fumbles. Saudi's timeline twist. May to buy monthly. Unravels as reflexive mendacity. Qataris echoed resurrection a hollow hype, hollowing out amid economic eviscerations and pardon perversions. Hands rotting ritual, obsessive ogles under wraps. Analyzes as bodily betrayal broadcasting regimes buried blights, from ISIS' illiterate oath infiltrations to Hegseth's Yemen yaps. Institute's ego etch, board purged judicial jihad paused by SCOTUS for trial tango, twists as tyrannical trophy. Rubio's rename a rushed relic amid Ukraine's unquenched inferno and Venezuelan vice grip violations. African queries carnage clarion. Troops today, deaths now. Dissects Trump's months-years mirage as messianic malarkey. Leaders love a laughable lens on loathing's ledge where M23 marauds. Somalia's slur symphony. Worst earth. Fraud-fueled Minnesota gutting. Unmasks melanin malice. Omar's dead without us. A deportation dog's dinner demanding congressional call for unkissing unprayers. Applause's artificial aria analyzes as awkward armor. Tshisekedi's dynamism, a diplomatic dirge. Kagame's even-handed a Rwandan riddle riddled with rebel riddles. Ukraine's 24-hour hoax haunts as hollow hype. Venezuelan war crimes a wicked watermark on the peaceless plaque. This tableau teases Trump's terminality. A dozer's delusion directing disaster. Name on peace a profane punchline in bloodied backyards. The stale smoke of staged handshakes clings clammy as Trump's dozing delusion dissolves into diplomatic dust. M23's marauding mirage mocking the miracle months from eastern graves still warm with that day's dead. Tshisekedi's tight-lipped thanks tastes of tempered torment. Kagame's poise a poisoned pill swallowing Rwanda's rebel riddles. Their love, a laughable lie lingering like laudanum on loathing's lips. Nay mangles echo embarrassingly. Chakis, Kagam, a phonetic farce fermenting felon-fueled foreign flubs. Saudi slips souring into mendacious mush amid hands rotting ritual. The bandage a blistering badge of buried bodily betrayals. Institute's ego etch etches eternal infamy. Board purged judicial jihad a jammed jigsaw paused by SCOTUS's tentative tether. Rubio's rename a rushed relic reeking of Russian-Ukraine undercuts and NATO nulls. African anguish. Troops now. Killings today. Afterburns acrid. Trump's timeline tease a tyrannical tease, tantalizing no truths from the trenches. Somalia's slur sludge. Worst world. Fraud-fraught Minnesota mauling. Stains with supremacist spittle. Omar's dead sands us, a deportation dog's dinner devouring democratic decency. Applause's awkward afterclap fades to fidgety fog. Leaders' sad beautiful sagas a somber soundtrack to the snooze fest's surreal stasis. Ukraine's unslaked 24-hour thirst. Venezuelan vice's venomous vogue. Vitrify the vanity plaque's profane punchline. This necrotic narrative nauseates as national nightmare's nightcap. A dozer's dirge directing the dynasty's dusk. Yet the reporter's raw roar. A clarion through the charade. Crackles with continental conscience. Piercing the pus of performative peace with people's unyielding pulse.